Good evening and welcome to Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present the news. Top stories in the news tonight. ERB adjusts upwards petrol pump price for June 2022. The NDC to provide 10 witnesses to testify in the death of OBED KASONGO. Zambia's President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA commissions the KENNETH KAUNDA International Conference Center. In international news, South Africans furious over power cuts due to rampant cable theft. In sports news, BANDA given green light to join Copper Queen's camp ahead of AWCON 2022. Another news in detail. The Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has adjusted upwards the fuel pump price by 18 ngwe per litre for petrol, while diesel and kerosene remains unchanged effective midnight, May 31, 2022. Petrol will now be selling at 24 kwacha 95 ngwe per litre from 24 kwacha 15 ngwe in May 2022, while diesel has been maintained at 25 kwacha 64 ngwe and kerosene at 18 kwacha 76 ngwe. Addressing the media Tuesday afternoon, ERB Board Chairperson Engineer Reynolds War has attributed the adjustments to factors such as seasonal rise in demand for petrol in Western countries, as well as the dollar-kwacha exchange rate in April 2022. Meanwhile, the board has revealed that research has indicated that a monthly review is periodically adequate, hence the continued monthly review exercise by the board.
The Energy Regulation Board has revised the pump price for petrol upwards by 18 ngwe per litre, while prices of diesel and kerosene remain unchanged. Petrol. The current price for petrol is 24 kwacha 15 ngwe. It now moves to 24 kwacha 95 ngwe. The price for low sulfur diesel is 25 kwacha 64 ngwe, and it remains at 25 kwacha 64 ngwe. Now is that the international pricing of petroleum products is relatively volatile. And if we are to ensure the dual role of allowing the businesses that are in that sector to operate with a fair return, as well as protect the public from unfair pricing, then the review of prices needs to be undertaken periodically. The question is really just what is the most prudent period. At the present time, our research indicates that a monthly review is about the correct period of time.
The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company has justified the lack of water in Lusaka's Charleston-Kamanga area for over 3 weeks now, which is meant to pave way for works that will see the area being connected to a dedicated line. Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Public Relations Officer Mshamba Muzungu explains that the residents had temporarily been connected to the Charleston line following concerns, but now have been reconnected back to the old system to allow for works in the area. The residents who have been experiencing water blues for years reached out to Camnet News on the 28th of May 2022, lamenting that water challenges have resurfaced despite the challenge having been worked on by the utility company. More in the following report.
Water challenges are still the order of the day in many Zambian communities, despite water, just like food, being a basic human right. From reports of humans sharing the same water source with animals to people depending on water from shallow wells, reports have been rife. This has been the problem that residents of Lusaka's Charleston Kamanga have been dealing with, as the affected area has not had a single drop of water for 3 weeks straight. The area, which has been experiencing water challenges for years, recently had a 1-month break where it experienced a stable water supply, but residents here explain that for the past 3 weeks now, water supply in the area has only remained a daydream. The residents, both young and old, on 28th May 2022 reached out to Camnet TV, indicating that trying to source water from far areas has become their daily preoccupation for the past 3 weeks.
Don't have water for years. Yes. No water. Mr. Mikey Posha should come and see this place. Hey. There is no water in Kamanga. Look at my age. Yes. How do I move to go and get water? There is no water in my house. Just behind this living in water. Place. There is no water completely. I don't know when I bath. Look at me.
Our area MP from Munali constituency to bring us water. I don't bath because there's no water for 3 weeks.
7 months no water. 7 months no water.
Since Mr. Mike Posha is a minister of water development, he was appointed by the president, Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, as the water development minister. So what is he doing here?
Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Public Relations Officer Mr. Mshamba Muzungu has called for calm among the residents, indicating that the situation is temporary, as it has been done to pave way for works, which will see the area being connected to a dedicated line.
So what we've done is actually going to be more beneficial for the people of Kamanga, because they are going to have a dedicated line which will give them a lot of water, probably even 24/7. In the meantime, as we continue working on this situation. But again, it is not all the areas in Kamanga which are affected by this. It's just a small section of Kamanga which has been affected because it is on high ground. Those areas which are on low ground, they have continued receiving water, but with reduced supply hours. So basically that is the situation. We are aware of the situation in Kamanga, and we are doing everything possible to address that situation within the shortest possible time.
It remains evident that a huge task remains if to attain the goal of providing easy access to clean water and sanitation for all by 2030. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Handloom Technologies Association of Zambia has pleaded with the government to consider reopening Mukuba textiles to allow yarn to be locally dried and spinned in Zambia. Association Master Weaver Jesse Banda says yarn is a very important compound in the production of garments, and says if Mukuba textile remains closed, local weavers will have to start importing the product, which is expensive for their businesses. And International Trade Center Programs Manager Matthias Nape says cotton is a very important sector, and that value addition should be encouraged if farmers are to realize good money from the business. More in this report.
Cotton is a key source of income for more than 300,000 smallholder farmers in Zambia. However, the cotton industry is still lagging behind owing to a number of factors, among them lack of support from the authorities as well as lack of value addition to the cotton produced in the country. The Cotton Board of Zambia Tuesday convened a workshop in Lusaka with various players in the cotton industry to see how best the sector can be improved. And speaking to Camnet News, Handlooms Technologies Association of Zambia Master Weaver Jesse BANDA has called on the government to consider reopening the Mukuba textile, which she says the closure has affected their businesses.
Now the machine spinning company is now no longer there. Mukuba Textiles is closed, and that is making our work very, very difficult. So right now we are thinking of where to be sourcing the yarn from. And we always use this cotton only, but we also need to use other fibers to make the same garments. So that's the challenge we have at the moment. Please, we plead with the government of today to make sure that they open Mukuba Textiles for us so that we can be having our local yarn spinned from here and dyed from here.
Ms. Banda also says hand-woved garments are not appreciated by the local citizens and has called on the local people to consider supporting the sector.
So basically, hand-woven things, the challenges we have are that our local people, they don't appreciate hand-woven items or garments. But our European people, they are the ones who just buy these things from us. So we are hoping that even us local people should appreciate what is locally made.
And Cotton Board of Zambia says there is need to support small-scale producers and processors of cotton to ensure that they find the right market for their businesses.
Tourists that come into the country and they want to buy Zambian-made products. So the products that you've seen here are handmade, and we're trying to link them to better markets. So part of the participants of the workshops are marketers. Also we have some hotel owners. We also have some shop owners and some fashion designers.
Meanwhile, International Trade Center Programs Manager Matthias Kinope says value addition is key at realizing the true value for the cotton business.
Yield increase for farmers. We're looking into bringing transparency into the seed cotton market between ginners and farmers, and we are looking into value addition of Zambian cotton, and that's the purpose of today's workshop.
Cotton industry provides a source of livelihood to farmers, cotton wool pluckers and workers engaged in ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, designing, packaging, tailoring and sewing. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Senior Chief Umwata Kazembe of the Lunda-speaking people of Luapula Province has cautioned the United Party for National Development, UPND, against forgetting its promises to the Zambian people, stating that the power to change governments remains in the hands of citizens. Speaking when UPND Secretary General Watuke Imenda paid a courtesy call on him at his palace Tuesday, the chief, however, states that he is confident that the new administration is up to the task. The chief has also urged the UPND administration to focus on solving day-to-day challenges faced by citizens. Meanwhile, Mr. Imenda says power has not gotten to their heads and that they are still alive to the needs of the Zambian people.
Please, and I emphasize, work hard for the people of Zambia. Yeah, the few days that UPND, the new Dawn administration has been in office. Yeah, we have seen free education coming back. Because I was one of those that benefited out of free education. And it's bad. Yeah, we can't do everything at once, but what is important is the start. A trip to Lusaka will start by one step. Yeah, you have started, and we are saying thank you to you. Change of government will always be there. But let us change for the better. Yeah, the people of Zambia say the PF, you have had enough, go, we try, UPN. People are expecting a lot from you.
We wish to state that we are in the province to say thank you to the people of Luapula on behalf of the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, who has sent me to come and say thank you. He has sent me to come and say thank you because of the massive votes that we got from this province. The president felt touched by the commitment of the people of Luapula for the kind of response and the reaction they rendered towards our party. When we sit down to look at statistics, we realize Luapula at a presidential level contributed immensely to our president being in status today.
A Lusaka clergyman, Bishop John Mambo, has called on stakeholders to stop commenting on the issue of gay rights, considering that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA has clearly stated his position on the matter. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Bishop Mambo has expressed concern that different sectors of society have continued politicizing the issue when it should be a topic of the past. The clergyman says Zambians and politicians need to start focusing on serious national matters than waste all their energy on issues that have clearly been responded to. More in this report.
Zambia, like other democracies, has many political parties competing for favor from the voters. This, however, has often resulted in a lot of mudslinging, hence reaffirming opinions that politics is a dirty game. Recent weeks in the country have been filled with different sectors of society condemning the issue of gay rights after the Finnish and Swedish government flew flags affirming support for this community at their premises. Despite President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA clearly stating that the United Party for National Development UPND administration does not support gay rights, conversation about the same has not ceased.
I'm following what's going on in the country today. To say the New Dawn government is promoting lesbian rights, gay rights, that is not right. We've said it before in opposition and now in government that we do not support gay, lesbian rights.
A clergyman, Bishop John Mambo, has expressed shock that despite the president making it clear, the matter has continued to be politicized. He has therefore called for talk concerning the same to come to an end, stating that Zambia has more important topics to focus on.
So that is a buried dead. If you want it, thank God that no one can be arrested because of lies. I think those that are in authority, they must take each one that says government currently is doing this to court so that they prove it, because enough is enough. We are not moving forward. The countries that we liberated are developing, but as we keep on fighting on what was... Anton Bali was on Camnet yesterday. If you follow this statement, he's a spokesperson for the president. If there was something that they were hiding, would he have accepted that interview? It means they are harboring no hate in their hearts. We went through the storm, it is over, they have been forgiven, because true forgiveness is from God.
The clergyman has called for unity in the country, stating that politicization of serious matters is causing a huge divide. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has urged State House to provide clarity on Premier Consultancy's alleged involvement in the evaluation of the awarding of a $1.3 billion United States dollars expansion investment to First Quantum Minerals FQM. TIZ chapter President Sampa Kalunga says the concerns are emanating from the fact that it is conflict of interest for Premier Consultancy, which belongs to the Presidential Economic Advisory Council member Professor Oliver Sasa, to be involved in the evaluation. Mr. Kalunga says the evaluation of First Quantum Minerals is crucial in informing the government on its next actions regarding the country's mining sector and overall economic development. He says the involvement of Professor Sasa may not provide authentic recommendations, claiming that an independent and unbiased assessment can only be possible by an independent and unbiased consultancy firm.
Transparency International Zambia has noted with concern the conflict of interest in the awarding of the First Quantum Minerals Limited's $1.3 billion expansion investment evaluation consultancy to Professor Oliver Sasa through his consultants firm Premier Consult. Our concern stems from the fact that Professor Sasa is the chairperson of the Economic Advisory Council, having been appointed by President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, and in that position, he provides advice to the President on economic matters. The recommendations that will come from the evaluation of FQM are crucial in informing the government on its next actions with regard to the country's mining sector and overall economic development. It is therefore of grave concern that an individual who is meant to guide the President on the economic decisions pertaining to the country is on the other end evaluating the country's largest taxpayer on its investment in the country. We wish to state that our concern is not about the capacity of Premier Consult to do the work in terms of their qualifications and experience, but rather about the broader principles of accountability and transparency in this matter. We therefore urge
the United Mine Workers Union of Zambia, UMUZ, has urged the government to allow Vedanta Resources to return to Konkola Copper Mine, KCM, as a way of improving the plight of KCM employees and surrounding communities. UMUZ President Wisdom Ngwira says that no investor in the near future will be willing to invest in KCM in its current position with all the legal encumbrances around it. Mr. Ngwira notes that the company is committed to investing an additional $1 billion towards capital mine development and other infrastructure to boost KCM's output, which is a welcome move. He further notes that the company is also committed to paying KCM suppliers, specifically small suppliers, owed up to $220 million at the point from when the provisional liquidator was appointed.
Would like to urge the government to consider the cries of KCM employees and the people in the surrounding communities where KCM operates and allow Vendetta Resources to return to KCM. We are all alive to the fact that KCM has been under liquidation since May 2019 because of failing to honor license conditions, including promised investments. This triggered the ongoing legal dispute with Vendetta Resources, KCM's parent company. Today, we have seen Vendetta Resources offering to step up investment in the mine and implement several social responsibility programs if given the opportunity to resume control of the firm. Arising from the above, we propose that the government consider allowing Vendetta Resources to regain running of Konkola copper mines for the following reasons. One, no investor in the near future would be willing to invest in KCM in its current position with all the legal encumbrances around it. This will result in prolonged suffering of miners and surrounding communities, which we believe is avoidable if Vendetta is brought on board immediately.
The National Democratic Congress (NDC) party has vowed not to rest until justice is served on the death of its member OBED Kasongo. NDC President Saboyi Imboela has told a press conference that they are ready to provide witnesses to testify on the case. She says now that police have opened an inquest on the matter, the party remains open to providing assistance with invitations. More in the following report.
The death of OBED Kasongo is among political events that have left the country shocked at the levels of intolerance among political players, especially in the previous administration. There has been accusation and counter-accusation on the matter, with several fingers pointing at the Kabushi lawmaker, Bowman Lusambo, among others. The matter had vanished as the post-mortem report that was released by officials revealed that Mr. Kasongo died from malaria and not beatings. However, the matter has been restarted, with some United Party for National Development officials taking an interest by reporting would-be suspects or witnesses to the case. The Zambia police also confirmed that an inquest has been opened on the matter. And Tuesday, 31st May 2022, National Democratic Congress President Savoy Imbwela informed the press that they will not rest until justice is served, saying there are many witnesses who are ready to testify on the matter.
Whole OBED case, trust me, the dockets are there. And the people from NDC, when the inquest is opened by the police, let me even make this point very clear. When the inquest is opened by the police, they should inform us. We have a whole list of witnesses, more than 10 witnesses that can come out and testify. Because that car was full. There were people in front, there were people behind. You know, even the person that was actually driving the car, that was OBED's brother-in-law, right? Yeah, brother-in-law. He was even badly injured as well. Badly injured, you know. So all those people, we made sure they got police reports and they got, medical reports. They have them. So now that it's time to get justice, nobody should think, maybe this is happening again, maybe no. And also even our friends from the PF, they should not think that by so doing we're fighting them or anyone. We're not fighting anyone. We are not fighting anyone. For us, all we want is justice.
She says the party does not need to seek permission of the family pertaining to the death of Mr. Kasongo because it is now a matter of national interest.
No wonder we are happy with the inquest of the police that they're talking about, because them now they're going to exhume the body and start fresh investigations. Are you getting the point? So that we start challenging the same post-mortem results that we had challenged earlier on, you know. So it has to start from there. And then the second thing is when it comes to murder, murder is not a civil case where I have to decide or you have to decide whether it goes that route or that route. Murder is a criminal offense. So it's the state against the people that kill a person. So if it's going to be a murder case in that regard, it does not matter what the family says, by the way. It won't matter, let me say that, because it will be the state, the Zambian people, saying that these people killed a person and we are interested in this as a state, as a people of this country, you know. But at that time now, the family also, I'm sure, they'll feel very, very happy because justice would have died.
Well, they say crimes may be secret, but they are not secure. For now, we can only wait and see where the wheels of justice will land us. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA has commissioned the KENNETH KAUNDA International Conference Center in Lusaka. The conference center, which is a gift from China to the tune of 60 million United States dollars, has a seating capacity of 4,000 people. And speaking during the commissioning of the center, President HICHILEMA has thanked the Chinese government for having funded the construction, which he says will go a long way in boosting the country's network with other countries through international meetings and conferences that the center will be hosting. President HICHILEMA has urged Zambians to emulate the work culture of Chinese contractors, adding that Zambians should strive to deliver projects of quality on time and at a considerable price. And People's Republic of China Ambassador to Zambia, Du Xianghu, says Zambia is the first country in Southern Africa to forge a relationship with China.
This conference facility and others will contribute to Zambia's vision of becoming a hub for international conferences and meetings in our region and our continent. We are determined to attract more meetings, more conferences to be hosted here in this country. Deliberately so, because hosting of international conferences is part of our strategy to grow our economy, to create jobs for the youth that put us in office, for the women that work very hard against a hostile environment to deliver us into office, and to market our country's peace. Thank you, women. Thank you, the youth. We want to market our country's peace. Zambia is a special country.
Unity and enhances Zambia's national image. I believe that the success of this project embodies three precious spirits. First, the spirit of China-Zambia traditional friendship. Our friendship was established by the leaders of older generation of the two countries, including Chairman Mao Zedong and President Dr. KENNETH KAUNDA. and has been carried forward from generation to generation. 4 hours ago, His Excellency President Xi Jinping had a successful phone conversation with His Excellency President HICHILEMA, which has charted the course for China-Zambia relations to develop going forward. Zambia is the first country in Southern Africa to establish diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China. The two countries have always treated each other as equals with respect and have given each other firm support on core interests and major concerns. We have forged a spirit of China-Zambia friendship that shares will and
Minister of Science and Technology Felix Mutati has noted that the advent of information, communication and technologies has the capability to tackle gender-based violence cases in the country once utilized. Speaking during the launch of the Understanding Online Gender-Based Violence GBV in Southern Africa report Tuesday, the minister expressed interest in using the online GBV report to raise awareness and form an input into the ICT policy, which is being revised. Meanwhile, Gender Division Permanent Secretary Mainga Kabika has called for the need to document the gender-based violence cases in order for proper measures to be initiated in ensuring that GBV is curbed. More in the following report.
The need to reduce cases of gender-based violence, which has been on the increase, cannot be overlooked as the Zambia police statistics showed a record of 21,000 cases recorded alone in 2021. Speaking during the launch of the Understanding Online Gender-Based Violence GBV in Southern Africa Tuesday, Minister of Science and Technology Felix Mutati acknowledged the need for stakeholders to take advantage of the digital space and reduce the GBV cases in the country. Mr. Mutati, however, advised stakeholders to take interest in formulating policies that aim at alleviating the effects of GBV and expressed happiness that once various policies are reviewed, such as the Cybersecurity Act of 2021, cases of GBV in the country may see a reduction.
You can't cure what you don't know. In effect, saying, in the absence of data, in the absence of evidence, it will be difficult as a country, Zambia, for us to tackle and address this particular issue. And my colleagues from Gender Division also said last year we had over 21,000 cases in Zambia of gender-based violence. I think all this indicate that we have a real problem that we must address. Let me write down the protocols that have.
And Gender Division Permanent Secretary Mainga Kabika, who was represented by Assistant Director in the Office of the Vice President, Gender Division Austin Mokiswamba, noted that women have been abused online, especially during the 2021 general election.
That was covered. As you may know, the internet is borderless and it helps to understand this phenomenon from a regional perspective. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, gender-based violence takes many forms. The Zambia Police notes that in 2021, Zambia recorded a total of 20,540 cases of physical gender-based violence countrywide. Out of these cases, over 4,000 were girls, while over 12,000 were women. While we have seen a reduction in the number of physical gender-based violence cases over the years, increasingly we are seeing that gender-based violence is now being perpetuated using online platforms, and this violence transcends to the offline space.
Meanwhile, public policy lead for Southern Africa at Meta, Nomondego Heka Seopo, hoped that efforts to make the digital space will be safe to safeguarding the rights of women using ICT tools.
All aggravated by the internet, social media, and the use of ICTs.
We remain concerned by the developing trends regarding the use of ICTs to perpetuate harm.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after this break.
We take risks every day, with some big things and some little things. Other risks are out of our control. But no matter what's important in your life, Savenda Insurance has got you covered. Whether it's for your home, vehicle, investments, or the people you love, you shouldn't have to worry about securing the future. Let us handle that. Since 2014, we have helped Zambians protect their health and personal property, offering peace of mind and fostering progress and development. Taking risks is what makes us grow. Insurance is what keeps us going strong.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. A witness has told the court that he spoke on the phone with one of the alleged owners of the infamous 51 houses in Lusaka's Chalala area before renting one of the houses. This is in a matter in which Charles Loyana and his wife Suzanne Loyana are charged with concealing and being in possession of properties suspected to be proceeds of crime amounting to about 37.9 million kwacha. Charles Loyana, a former senior accountant at the Ministry of Finance, and his wife Suzanne Loyana, a former accountant at the Ministry of Works and Supply, are facing 2 counts of corrupt practices involving concealment and possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. More in this report.
An acting senior registrar in the Ministry of Lands, Mesinkonde 36, has testified in the 51 infamous houses case before Friday Samaundu that on 27th January 2021, she was approached by SEC to issue a statement relating to property number L19897M and L19897MA. She says it was discovered that there was a power of attorney registered in 2017 from Yusuf Muhammad Ishmael to Lombebwalia and Associates and not Loyana on the property number L19987MA, and there was one power of attorney registered between Patel Ahmed Yaqub and Zaki Hussein Kankara. In her testimony, she alleged that Ishmael Yusuf is still the title holder of the remaining extent of L19987M and L19987MA is still registered under Yaqub Ahmed Patel. Meanwhile, another witness, Kambali Kalionto, testified that he spoke on phone with one of the alleged owners of the infamous 51 houses in Lusaka's Chalala area before renting one of the houses. When the matter came up for continuation of trial, Kalionto was challenged to state whether he had ever spoken to the 2 accused persons physically In response, the witness alleged that he did not speak to the suspects physically, but to a Susan Sinkala on phone. He told the court that he was given to sign a tenant's agreement which had the name Susan Sinkala on it, and payment for rentals were made to a Mr. Bruce Shikawa, who used to make payments for the house. Shikawa, in his testimony, accepted making the payments for the rental and was charged with his wife Susan Sinkala. This matter, Charles Loyana and his wife Loyana are still in possession of suspect about 7.9 million kwacha. Lusaka Magistrate Fides Hamaundu has adjourned the matter to 1st June 2022 for continuation of trial. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
A governance rights activist, Isaac Mwanza, has filed a petition in the Constitutional Court stating that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA broke the law by practically labeling the Director of Public Prosecution, Lilian Siyuni, guilty before she can be probed or tried in a competent court of law. Mr. Mwanza has also asked Judicial Complaints Commission Chairperson Vincent Malambo to excuse himself from the DPP's case due to a serious factual case of conflict. He says Mr. Malambo, a member Chad Muleza, must recuse themselves from hearing DPP Lilian Siyuni's case, alleging that she broke the law when she entered Enole in a case involving former KCM liquidator Milingo Lungu. This is according to a court records filed Tuesday in the Constitutional Court by Isaac Mwanza. More in this report.
During a press conference held in April 2022 at State House by Zambia's Republican President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, he said he had neither powers nor rights to give someone immunity from prosecution, hence branding the debate on whether or not former Konkola Copper Mines provisional liquidator Milingo Lungu negotiated his exit from KCM with the government as trivial. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA further expressed his concern over the Director of Public Prosecution's Lilian Siyuni's decision to oppose the rearrest of Mr. Lungu. However, just few days after this conference was held, a governance activist, Isaac Mwanza, rushed to the Constitutional Court and filed a petition against government, seeking several reliefs, among them that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA broke the law by practically labeling DPP Ms. Siyuni guilty before she is probed, tried in a competent court of law. In his petition, Mr. Mwanza further seeks an order that the Judicial Complaints Commission JCC Chairperson Vincent Malambo recuses himself from handling the complaints involving the DPP because he was at the same law firm with Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe, who urged him to expedite the process. In his petition, Mr. Mwanza cited the Attorney General as the respondent. After several days, government has now responded to his petition. In an affidavit in opposition filed before court, Attorney General Mulilo Kabisha urges that there have been significant lapses on the part of the DPP, which requires thorough, independent and fair investigation by relevant bodies, does not in any way infringe on the independence of the Judicial Complaint Commission. Government has further submitted before the Constitutional Court that the allegations raised by Mr. Mwanza are premature and do not reap for determination by the court, as the Judicial Complaint Commission JCC has neither constituted itself nor begun to deliberate on the complaint in issue. Mr. Mwanza in his petition is also seeking an order and declaration that the announcement by the executive through the Minister of Justice that it has found anomalies in the conduct of the DPP in the absence of legitimate body undertaking an inquiry offends Article 144(2) of the Constitution and therefore illegal. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Immigration Department says the influx of foreign nationals occupying market space in different parts of the country should be blamed on shop owners. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Immigration Department Public Relations Officer Namati Nshinka says markets will only be cleaned when Zambians stop allowing illegal immigrants without work permits from occupying their shops. And Mr. Nshinka has attributed the increase in illegal immigrants to the fact that some foreign nationals have been crossing into the country through parts of borders that are far from designated immigration officers. He says others entered the country illegally but have failed to extend their permits, therefore making them illegal immigrants.
By Zambians that markets have been invaded by marketeers. So we are carrying out operations like we did the past 3 days from 27th to 29th of May. But also we need help from the members of the public. Yeah, we have information that these foreign nationals who don't have documents are being given stands and market stores by Zambians. So these stores are being allocated to Zambians, but the Zambians sublet these stores to people who don't have documentation. That is illegal. That is harboring. And very soon we'll be making examples of these Zambians who are abrogating the law with impunity. Yeah, our message to the members of the public that when they want to engage any foreign national, they should carry out a due diligence to ensure that whoever they're engaging has the right papers for them to conduct whatever undertaking that they've come to undertake here in Zambia.
The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, says it is saddened by the increasing number of people using social media platforms to post hate speech, bullying and showcasing of obscene images. In an interview with Camnet News, ZICTA Corporate Communications Officer Hanford Chava says people should go back to using social media responsibly, which includes socializing, communication and for business purposes. Mr. Chava says those who are posting obscene materials should take it in mind that only adults access social media, but not only adults access social media rather, but children as well.
We are deeply saddened by the tendency that we are now seeing. It's actually becoming quite rampant, where members of the public actually wants to take it upon themselves to go to social media and they upload whatever they want to upload, they post whatever they want to post. But I have to make mention of the fact that social media platforms are platforms actually that are not meant for such kind of content, so to say. It is actually platforms that are meant to ensure that we enhance communication. These are platforms that are meant to ensure that we enhance our business processes. They are platforms that are meant to ensure that we enhance our communications, and our interactions with our peers as well as relatives. Now, in a situation where you see, people going to social media and engage in hate speech, they also go to social media and engage in uploading pornographic content or illicit content. Some of them will go to social media and engage in cyberbullying. It actually becomes a very, very worrying concern. Why? Because that is not actually what social media is actually meant to do. It's actually a deviation from the ethos of social media. What we want to see as a regulator is a situation where people revert into productive use of social media. That is the whole idea why social media has actually come to us as members of the digital family, because we need to ensure that our businesses processes, our communication processes are actually made easier than they were.
The Alliance for Accountability Advocates Zambia has urged the Zambian government to allocate resources for capacity development in local councils in the Constituency Development Fund CDF implementation. Organization Programs Officer Mark Ngoma notes that both local councils and communities lack the technical capacity in the administration of the CDF, thereby posing a challenge, especially in rural areas. Mr. Ngoma says as the Ministry of Finance and National Planning is formulating the 2023 national budget, community extension officers must be budgeted for to improve the current status quo.
Authorities, some constituencies do not have the capacity to manage the 25.7 million that has been earmarked for constituency development fund. They do not have the capacity in terms of the human personnel needed. They do not have capacity in terms of the technological advancements needed, and of course just the basic infrastructure. So if the supply side is having such challenges, it will be very difficult for them to ensure that the resources are used to an optimal manner. We're looking at a scenario where it's perhaps important that we take a step back and look at the budget that is being formulated for 2023. Can resources be earmarked for capacity development on the supply side first, so that we ensure that there's prudent management of these resources? On the other hand, we're looking at it from the demand side, the community members. How many community members will be capable, for instance, of filling the grant application form, the loan application form, or really understand the entry points in the community development projects? So on this other side as well, meaning there's necessity to build this capacity. And if you look at, for instance, the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, it will be paramount that the ministry comes up with community extension workers. For instance, the way we have in agriculture extension workers, we need to consider having community development workers who are going to enhance the capacity of community members to actually tap into the resource of Constituency Development Fund.
You're watching Camnet Television. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry has so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow! Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
We take risks every day, with some big things and some little things. Other risks are out of our control. But no matter what's important in your life, Savenda Insurance has got you covered. Whether it's for your home, vehicle, investments, or the people you love, you shouldn't have to worry about securing the future. Let us handle that. Since 2014, we have helped Zambians protect their health and personal property, offering peace of mind and fostering progress and development. Taking risks is what makes us grow. Insurance is what keeps us going strong.
And now in international news, South Africans are struggling to keep the lights on Electricity blackouts are affecting millions as power stations cannot supply demand. Crumbling infrastructure and power stations are overwhelmed by demand. And people in South Africa's Johannesburg are joining police on night patrols to catch criminal gangs robbing South Africa of electricity. And in other international news, the Sudanese military authority headed by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan released Monday political prisoners. The news comes after the lifting of the state of emergency. On Sunday, Sudan's ruling Sovereign Council recommended that people detained under an emergency law be freed. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
Students at the University of Johannesburg in Soweto demonstrate following weeks of intermittent power cuts, which have hampered their studies. The university's management blame thieves stealing electricity cables for the blackouts. In Vosloorus, east of Johannesburg, more power cuts because of crime. Nestle Leshope owns a small food business which is costing more to keep open because she has to buy gas to replace the electricity supply.
So already the customer demo. So
we normally start at 5 a.m. and that's when we get most of our customers. We have to tell them there's no power, and so we lose those morning customers, school children and commuters.
Thieves have been videoed digging up cables, sometimes in broad daylight. But much of the theft takes place at night during the electricity blackouts.
While South Africa is battling to keep its lights on because of issues like aging facilities, the problem's being worsened by rampant crime. Electricity cables are being stolen at an alarming rate, and officials are trying to stop as much of it as possible.
In Soweto, frustrated people and police go on night patrols to try and stop the vandalism, but they're hindered by the lack of light. Thieves are after copper, which sells for up to $20 a kilo on the black market. Some is shipped overseas.
There's a very hard plastic casing, but they managed to get through it, and they take the copper out, the strands of copper cables inside, and they burn that plastic casing to get to actual copper.
Power companies say the demand for copper is higher than ever, and crime syndicates control the trade.
They then sell it to these sort of scrap metal dealers. Sometimes you get this what we call bucket shops, which are unregistered scrap metal dealers. That will be at level 2. Then from level 2, they then take it to like your recyclers and your refineries. And those are the guys then who will granulate this thing, and by granulating it, they deform it.
While official patrols happen about 3 times a month, residents gather nightly at their own risk, often facing heavily armed thieves, keeping an eye on power lines, in an attempt to keep the lights on and their community safe. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera, Soweto, South Africa.
The Sudanese military authority headed by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan released Monday political prisoners. According to the BBC, 125 activists were able to leave their cells. They were allegedly leaders of the resistance committees, a group opposing the military coup. The prisoners were released from facilities in the capital Khartoum, Port Sudan and Rabat in the southeast. The news comes after the lifting of the state of emergency. On Sunday, Sudan's ruling Sovereign Council recommended that people detained under an emergency law should be freed. The defense minister insisted these recommendations were meant to facilitate dialogue between the military and the pro-democracy movement. So far, UN-mediated talks to solve the country's political crisis were rejected by the Sudanese Professionals Association, an activist coalition that played a pivotal role in the ousting of leader al-Bashir in 2019. Unrelenting protests gathering thousands have taken place across the country. The October 2021 military takeover ended a military-civilian power-sharing arrangement.
It's now time for sports news. And now in sports news, Chinese club Shanghai Shengli has allowed striker Barbara Banda to join the Copper Queens squad in Lusaka, who are preparing for the 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations tournament to be held in Morocco in July this year. The Copper Queens skipper will now join a 31-member provisional squad that entered camp in Lusaka this week for the continental showpiece that will be staged in Morocco from the 2nd to the 23rd of July. Zambia is in Group B alongside Cameroon, Tunisia and Togo, and will begin their campaign against the indomitable Lionesses on July 3. Turkey-based midfielder Misozi Zulu and China-domiciled defender Margaret Belemu were the first foreign-based players to join camp, with goalkeeper Haze Onali of Fatih Vatan Spor in Turkey and Spain-based striker Rachel Kundananji expected at the weekend, while Grace Chanda, who features for Big Kazigat in Kazakhstan, will be in the country next week. And in karate, girls in Lusaka's Kanyama constituency say martial arts such as karate play a significant role in combating illicit activities in society. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Rina Nambea and others note that through karate they are able to defend themselves from the boys with bad characters. Meanwhile, founder of Girls Kicks Foundation, Martha Muliyunda, states that it has proven difficult to engage girls in martial arts because it has been perceived as an activity only meant for boys. More in the following report.
Karate is a Japanese martial art whose physical aspects seek the development of defensive and counter-attacking body movements. The themes of the traditional karate training are fighting and self-confidence, though its mental and moral aspects target the overall improvement of the individual. It is said that karate was first introduced in Zambia in the 1970s, and now about 8,000 Zambians are practicing karate. Some Zambian karatekas had performed at the just-ended Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games for the first time. That said, some girls from Kanyama constituency of Lusaka say martial arts such as karate plays a significant role in combating illicit activities in society.
Karate imatitandiza for self-defense, to protect ourselves from bad boys. Imati tanzako kungara strong, kungara healthy. Karate nyamushe maningi imati tanzako. Okay, I'm just very thankful to the people who are sponsoring us. Skomo kwambili mwanzi, tatasha, tashita accept vichavintu vamnemna tipasa, tayamikila skomo.
Anjako kunkala 50, then one of these days wakonda ma early marriages. So ine mkombo nipapewa chitavusa mbele nipesa kwenye kukarati. Ni 7 sako time yanga kuja. Event anjako na kuskuru ama chitako ma school fees.
Kyokushin is a type of karate practiced in Zambia which offers karate lessons both for adults and children. However, founder of Girls Kicks Foundation, Martha Muliyunda, states that several girls do not want to participate in karate.
For men or for boys. But when they saw me, I think they saw something different when they saw me train with them, because now they saw someone who's like them, someone who's a girl, who's a woman, who's a mother. And I think that changed their mindset in thinking that this sport is just for boys. So I think we basically need more role models. I know there are other female karatekas who I know personally who are still training to date. I think I just encourage, more who are in it already to show up and show the girls that it's not just for boys, and that would encourage them to take up the sport. But basically the stereotype is that it's just for men. And obviously there are other social vices that I can talk about the girl child. When it comes to menstrual health and stuff, they think, maybe when I'm in a certain way at a certain time, then I can't train. But that's just a myth. You can do anything I think a girl child can do anything.
The Japanese martial arts, including karate, consists of strength, respect for the opponent, and the beauty of movement. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
To end Camnet television news, the headlines once again. ERB adjusts upwards the petrol pump price for June 2022. The NDC to provide 10 witnesses to testify in the death of OBED KASONGO. Zambia's President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA commissions the KENNETH KAUNDA International Conference Center. In international news, South Africans furious over power cuts due to rampant cable theft. And in sports news, BANDA given green light to join Copper Queens ahead of AWCON 2022. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from Proverbs 13, verse 5 to 6. The righteous hate lying, but the wicked act disgustingly and disgracefully. Righteousness guards people of integrity, but wickedness undermines the sinner. Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.